everybody, Julian here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this insane Hypertrance by Exodia. We're going to be showing the techniques how to do it, even if it's not exactly the same. More so, I just want to show you guys how to develop music in this kind of world, right? It may not be exactly about copying Exodia and getting that exact sound, but just kind of the techniques, how that's done, I can definitely show you. And I can also definitely show you how to make your own stuff in this style. So to go along this video, make sure to grab the template from this video at the top of the description on my website. And like this video as well as subscribe if you haven't already. And let's get started. Alright, so we're at 168 BPM, pretty fast for trance, right? First thing, before I show you any elements, I just want to show you how much this master processing is doing, right? So when you hear this, everything is sort of in the same world, right? Like everything kind of sounds like it's under the same umbrella, so to speak. And that would be really hard to do if you're approaching it from just each element individually. To get this sound, you really kind of have to like filter everything together, compress everything, and I'll just show you. So here's without this. I even have it clipping a little bit just to get, like, sometimes you kind of have to push that these days to get this sound, right? But it sounds a lot more like a standard trance song, right? But then you add some glue compression, which this, yeah, and then there's the low pass, which, like, if you want anything to sound lo-fi, honestly, just a low pass filter, right? Everybody's looking for these magical lo-fi plugins, but literally the lo-fi sound is just cutting out highs. And you could even, if you really want to get some lo-fi vibes, you could even just, you know, if you bring up the resonance a little bit as well, that kind of adds to that sound. But the other thing here is that now you have everything getting compressed and everything getting low pass together, so it's much more under that same umbrella, right? And then we just put a bit of limiting to push it even more, and also, you know, keep it from clipping, right? Again, this is like very experimental mixing. Like, yes, almost everything I've shown you so far is against the rules by certain people's rules, but that's the point, is like we're defining new rules as time is going on. So I just want to show you all that because, again, I can show you the elements, but it really is like, without this stuff, I mean, it's basically just a regular trance type of track, right? So this stuff really is doing a lot. Now, I'll go ahead and turn that off so I can show you the elements. So the first thing is going to be this kick. Nice fat hard techno kick, actually. Right, and that's also going to really punch through. You got to think also when it comes to that mastering stuff, you know, this type of a kick sample is going to punch through even if you super compress everything. So we got that. A little bit of a subcut, you know, still trying to keep things pretty clean. Hi-hat. Right, so we start with that main drum groove, and you can see we really don't have too much other drums other than that. We really just have like some rave loops. Just some nice mid-range. And then I've got those being high-passed. But really, you know, when you're going this fast, you can't have too much. And you notice it's mostly in the high end, besides really just the kick. But then we have the bass line. So this would actually technically be in the key of E minor, right? Usually it's the note that you're starting on, but what we're doing here is we're kind of walking down to the resolution instead of starting on it, right? What we're doing is we're going 6th, 4th, root. So it's actually a very simple pattern that you've heard on a lot of songs, right? But it's very epic, and I think it's going to help, like when you have this crazy lead. It really helps to kind of ground that, right? So this is this wavetable. We got a sub, and then we have 2 saw waves with a bunch of unison. I'm low passing that, and then also a bit of erosion to kind of give it some more kind of crunch. And the erosion works together with the filter too. Like, this is what I learned working on like a lot of drum and bass and stuff like that. It's just like, you can hear it, like the filter interacts with the distortion, especially when it's this kind where it's erosion and it's kind of like in between bit crushing and like a more normal overdrive. So don't underestimate like how these two things can really work together to create that sort of lo-fi sound. We've got a bit of a subcut sidechain, and then we're converting the bass to mono. So you see, even though this is like a crazy, insane, messed up thing, we're still on a micro level keeping things pretty clean, and we're still trying to keep the production, sound. Then we have the lead. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the mastering stuff back on. Right, so what's happening here is it's basically two patterns. We got down here, which is following the bass again. We're going 6th, 4th, root note again. And this is going do 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 like 16th note octaves. Like if I turn off the melody. Right, that's really simple. But then on top of that, we have this other melody jumping around. And you can hear there's a bit of call and response. Like, see how this pattern kind of ends on that note on the 9th? And then this one here ends on the 5th. So we're getting like a very well-resolved sort of pattern like that, right? Or actually, that's going back up to the root. Excuse me. And then this is the 6th and the 5th. So you see there's a lot of movement there. And it's the call and response using notes in the scale. This isn't even like that crazy of a melody. Right? When you slow it down, it's just that it's happening so fast. And then you put that stuff under it. And yeah, so I turned the mastering step back on because I know this is a big part of the Exodia sound. And you hear when we turn that off, even this is so different. Like as far as getting that sound that you hear on that record, it is really still the mastering. Even the parts when it was only this synth on its own. Still though, let's turn that stuff off real quick. And so here's the patch. What we're doing is I'll turn off all the effects. So it's literally just like a super saw, one saw wave, unison all the way up, and then we have the amp envelope really punchy. Right, so you get that really short synth. Also, we have an envelope on the filter here. But when you listen on its own, it's honestly a pretty like flat synth. Because again, you got to keep in mind, this is going through so much. We got reverb, erosion, and then the amp, which obviously really awakens it. But you got to keep in mind, like if you're gonna do a really processed synth like this, the patch has to work together with the processing. You don't just get a sound and make it super crazy and then add distortion on top of it. It's kind of like a subdued sound that the distortion's gonna bring stuff out of, right? Then we have a high pass filter. And we're getting that, but then you add the mastering. And there we go. You would also probably, like, I know there's parts in the track when it's just this. Just get rid of the low pass, or the high pass. Right, the high pass is just so that we can still have this work together with the kick and bass. Because it becomes a big phasing mess the second you turn that off, right? And there we are. So that's how to do Exodia. So there it is. As you can see, all the elements are important, but it's also quite a bit about the master processing. And if you can get that down, you can really get the sound, because this sound is the sound of all those different elements getting glued together by that master processing. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full template at the top of the description on my website. Make sure to go grab that so you can make your best trance track today. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.